Just like them. All right. Thank you all for bearing with us with some technical difficulties and our usual NAWP banter. This is NAWP reading series, and we have a great reading for you tonight. We have Chris Butler, Mitch Nobis, and Donna Vorreyer. I'm not saying your name right? It's Vorreyer?
No, you were right the first time. It's just
Voyer?
Voyer. Yeah.
Okay. You know, it's like when you host, I don't know if you know this, right? When you host, your brain goes, nope, you got it all wrong. You got to make sure you got it right. All right. So, thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you for bearing with us. We're going to get started right away. Our first reader is Chris L. Butler. He's a Black American Canadian poet and essayist from Philadelphia, PA, living in the greater Toronto area. His poems have been featured in Pinch Journal, Southern Florida Poetry Journal, Contemporary Verse 2, Tramset Magazine, Lucky Jefferson, and more. Chris is the author of 5 chapbooks, most recently Melodies of the Oppressed from Ethel in 2025, and Inside the Garden of Alchemy with DMX and Karl Marx, great title, Ghost City Press 2025. He is a lifelong appreciator of donuts and sour gummy worms. Thank you for coming, Chris.
Thank you for that introduction, Jared, and thanks for having me tonight. All right, so the first poem I'm going to do, yesterday was in some parts of America, Columbus Day, and in other parts of America, Indigenous Peoples Day. Also in Canada, it was Thanksgiving. So I'm going to open up with a land back poem. So this is Lenape Potholes. Pennsylvania's potholes will swallow you into the depths of its throat. If you drive too low, the underbelly of your sedan will kiss Satan's lips. Construction workers mend the wounds after approximately 4 million cars crumble its surface each winter. I find it no coincidence that nature destroys the same roads taken by colonials, how the expressway erodes once per year, ready for its asphalt mass to be repaired. I wonder if the earth is telling us she doesn't want to wear any more facial coverings made of pollutants blackheading her brown skin. This battle of nature versus economy is a metaphor for the ongoing capitalist fight within the self. How our dreams are coated by the tar of expectations, how careers that are more obligations than hopes cement us into stagnance. Maybe when the snowy December and the rainy April destroys the roads of southeastern Pennsylvania, it is a message for Philadelphia to be returned, to be called Lenape Hocking once again. Thank you. I'm just going to get some water. All right. So I would be remiss if I'm wearing a kafaya in my headshot and didn't make some time for Palestine. So I'm going to read, I just got to scroll down, forgive me. I'm going to read Love Poem from the University of Redacted Encampment. And this one is for my wife, Yasmin. After we finish building a house in the encampment, can we build a wall made of wooden pallets and forest green chain link fence metal to wrap around our shared values in the encampment? And can we bring all our best supplies to the encampment, like students, faculty members, and locals? Residents whose hearts, minds, and spirits stack up like red bricks, forming a woven Tatri's pattern that spells liberation. Our elbows locked together, arm in arm, like we are in jam words on a page. The next thing I want to know, as we rejoice about our love for liberation in this encampment, can we kiss in the encampment? Even if we feel downtrodden, it's important our spirits remain up. It's important We don't let monsters destroy our love. I want to be clear. I'm not saying we should make love here in this encampment. This land is both public and sacred, after all. It's just that I think we should take a moment to bask in the kites flying above us and not the helicopters and their violent sirens, because we're shaping and molding the world we want to see right here in this very encampment. Even if the police bulldoze our hopes, they will not bulldoze our hearts. And we can rebuild again tomorrow, but please don't let them break us. Thank you. All right, so the next poem I'm gonna read is a cento. Normally I do a lot of free verse or prose poems, but I wanted to experiment more, which is where Inside the Garden of Alchemy with DMX and Karl Marx came about. So I sourced centos from letters of Karl Marx and DMX's first album. And for those of you who maybe are familiar with my work, this is not something unusual for me. I did a chapbook about Tupac before that. So I did centos and found a lot of overlap in the two amazing writers. So this is cento number 7. Y'all been eating. Stop being greedy. The first premise of all human history. The productive forces are the result of man's practical energy. Y'all been eating. Stop being greedy. Economists explain how production takes place. Just keep it real, partner. Give it to the needy. Machines were the weapon employed by the capitalists. Most expensive champagne you got in big glasses. Y'all been eating. Stop being greedy. 2 glowing red eyes, sun's going down, locks off a cage, ribs is touching to your belly. So don't make me wait. Y'all been eating. Stop being greedy, or I'ma bite you and snatch the plate. Thank you. All right. Last one. I'm gonna do, let's see. Oh, I know what I'm. So, a couple of years ago, I wrote this poem called If Offred Isn't a Fictional Character, Then Bring Me Fred Waterford. And this is that. I remember watching The Handmaid's Tale on TV, an apocalyptic novel now playing out in front of me, a system of wicked men in suits calling all the shots, a society where the people are kept from truth, veritas. Is it really that dystopian? Because I don't see how that's just not another speculative storyline that needs to be reshelved in the nonfiction aisle. Because if Offred is real, then bring me Fred Waterford. And Lord, transform me into a samurai. Let me be the king of katanas that night. I want to devastate his jaw into a mumbling mouthful of jelly beans. For Offred, No June, and all the other women these immoral souls have harmed. My name is Chris Butler. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris. Our next reader is an amazing reader and writer and friend. Mitchell Nobis is the writer and K through 12 public school teacher in the Metro Detroit area where he lives with his family and dog. He's the author of The Size of the Horizon, or I Explained Everything to the Trees, Match Factory Editions 2025. He facilitates the Teachers as Poets group for the National Writing Project, hosts the Wednesday night sessions reading series for Kickstart, Farmington, and he co-founded Not at AWP, NAWP with me, this reading series that we love so much. And for more, see MitchNobis.com or find him falling apart on a basketball court. Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you for having me. It is good to be here in the guest chair for a change of pace. Shout out Chris, man, those were amazing. I mean, I'm so happy we're finally in a room together, even if it's like an imaginary room that in the ether somewhere. And Donna, thanks for holding up my book. Guess what came in the mail today? Love it. And before I go on, an elephant in my room, and probably some of yours based on what I saw on social media. D'Angelo passed from this human plane earlier, and shout out to him, man. That is he's a once in a lifetime, once in a generation artist. He has never gotten the attention he deserves. That has nothing to do with my poems. I just wanted to say that before I jumped in. Yeah, right. Okay. Because we're cool, Jared. Sorry, I shouldn't read the chat while I'm talking. My first poem, in not the first poem in the book, the first poem I'm gonna read. I read Percival Everett's The Trees last month, and it is an amazing novel, largely based on the notion of Emmett Till getting revenge. And I've got an Emmett Till poem in section 1 of my book. So this is Matters. The workshop asked, at what age is it appropriate to teach a lesson on Emmett Till? The question sat, wary, in the middle of the room, pondered and surrounded. The well-meaning began to wrestle the question. They aimed for an answer, but an answer is a form of defeat, and this is a question to gather and hug tight. This is a question to hold, to rub its head while it's pulled out of the river, to cradle while the water pours out and then drips until it stops altogether when the question finally exhales. And then I was lucky, I got to do an interview with Brian Harvey last week, and Sam Cooke came up in our interview as another musician who never gets anywhere near the credit or attention that he ever deserved. And one thing I love about Sam Cooke is that he is just like a mellow crooner. If you're not familiar with Sam Cooke's music, that's on your to-do list tomorrow. That's your playlist tomorrow. But he doesn't, he was also like a very quiet voice in the civil rights movement. His most famous song was kind of an anthem, but like he wasn't really recognized for that in the same way that some other folks were. So I'm going to read Sam Cooke Said a Change is Going to Come. And just real quick, it's kind of a visual poem. It's in columns. And I'm going to read it the way it works in my mind, which isn't the way it really appears on the page. I read it through twice. Sam Cooke said a change is going to come. Sunfall, revolutions, and autumn, which solution? Maybe the words stopped for a reason. Changes in season. West wind, pushing, pushing. Water spray and crushing. Maybe it's time change isn't season. Just try to listen. Moonrise, try to breathe. Late night dew, changes seethe. Maybe there's too much fear to listen. Words stop for a reason. Sunfall and autumn, maybe the words stopped for a reason. West wind, water spray, maybe it's time change isn't season. Moonrise, late night dew, maybe there's too much fear to listen. Words stop revolutions. Which solution? Change isn't season. Pushing, pushing, and crushing. Just try to listen. Try to breathe. Changes seethe for a reason. Switch gears a little bit. It is fall baseball season at the Nobis house. It ends this week, so here's a baseball poem. I would be remiss if I didn't read one that's got my boys in it. They get mad when I read it. They're 15 and 11 now. This book is old. They're all when they were little toddler dudes, and now they're big, and they would punch me if they knew I was portraying them as little fellas. So you'd better pay attention. 7 years old and can't tie a shoe. He grabs his mitt and asks to shag flies. The Little League Championship is on the line tomorrow. Throw grounders now, Dad. He gobbles them up, whips them back, all game face, and dives a day early. He struggles catching to his left, refuses to just open up and sticks his mitt out to his left. He tries it at last, and of course it works. His eyes go Nova again, and I throw it again and again. I don't tell him I'm going to, and I heave one high. Later, I'll tell him that in baseball, you never know where the ball will go, so you have to be ready for anything because you only know that it will be pitched. You have to wait, only knowing that eventually the ball will take flight and cruise like a missile at a first grader. Eventually, it all will take flight and cruise like an asteroid at you. He squinted into the June sun. He parsed cloud and maple leaf and the pinpoint of baseball falling, period, then iris, then nickel, then baseball. Then a cloud of dust popped from his mitt and drifted away. Time here. Let's do a jackass poem. This is the part where the crowd is supposed to go like, so there's like 5 poems in the book, 4 poems, 5 poems, that are all about a jackass. I'm not sure I've ever read this one out loud, so I chose A Jackass Tells a Story About Rivers because I don't know that I've ever read this one in a reading. Here's A Jackass Tells a Story About Rivers. Tell a story about rivers, they said, and of 1,000 rivers, dreamed and real, I am in one, amniotic and amnesiac, dragging drunken feet through 3 feet of water a half-mile to the lake where there is a bonfire, a beach party on Lake Michigan in Michigan where a certain brand of person can only enjoy the lake by tearing it apart with motors. But these weren't those people. Oil and tires didn't tell the stories of their day. Deep night turned its blind eye to the beach and the bottles. A guitar and a radio, and nobody caring about competing notes that floated and banged across and around each other before reaching for the pines past the dunes and the stars past the world. She started talking to me and talked some more until she touched. This was one of those times a lifetime ago when lives overlapped, an intersection of rivers. Say what you will about the brutalism of streets, at least they tell you where to go. Signs command one way or stop. The warm waters just say stay, stay. The currents make only suggestions. I stumbled back, splashed through the river, feet through dark muck, dissipating. Quick time check, where are we at? Oh, I've got time for a couple more, maybe. I think, Jared, feel free to yell at me if I'm going over time.
You're technically a co-host, so I don't know if I have the ability to knock you off.
The next one,
Anyway.
it's virtual. What am I going to do? Tweet. Some other teachers in the room, or current and or former teachers. So here's a teaching one. Attention grabber goes here. The teacher demanded the papers have 5 paragraphs. Tried to desperately cram rhizomatic life into 5 measured compartments. Tried to bake thought like cupcakes with a formula desperate to make sense of it all. To impose order while thought quietly sent itself sideways, underground. All right. So the book has 6 sections. And I chose 1 book per section. I was sneaky like that. So this will be the last one. This one leads off the last. No, it doesn't lead off. Sorry. This is the second poem of the last section of the book. My memory fails me. Shout out to Match Factory Editions, by the way, before I lose the mic here. I believe they're in the audience still. I saw them in here earlier. So RD and Snezana, thank you very much for being here and for all of your support. I cannot thank you enough. All right, I'll wrap it up with this one. It's titled Ashen. They had a point. It's easier to pretend. Nicer. Have you tried explaining to your kid what's happening? More so, what's about to happen? What is about to happen? I'll explain it to you again, bud. We'll do our best while it burns. We'll compare the flame to the sunsets we watched over the bay. We'll talk about how the embers of what we'll then realize had been the world flowed off after dark like orange fireflies, like lightning bugs when we had seas of them, like tiny sunsets blinking out, finally cooling in the dark when no one was there to watch. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mitch. What is about to happen? Perfect use of a question in a poem.
I liked your poem.
Thank you so much. That is like, you are my New York Times. That is the best review I could ask for. Thank you so much.
She's got a test on poetry tomorrow, among other things, and I was using your poem to teach her alliteration real quick. I was like,
Get out.
hear those S's? That's alliteration, right?
Thank you. I am legitimately 100% honored. That's amazing.
All right. Our next reader is Donna Vorreyer, and she is the author of Unrivered, which many people got in the mail today. Some people didn't and are sad about it. It came out in 2025. To Everything There Is, 2020.
Okay.
Every Love Story is an Apocalypse Story, 2016. And A House of Many Windows, 2013, all from Sundress Publications. She hosts the online reading series 100 Pictures of Honey and is a co-founder editor of the new journal Astralis, a journal of arts and letters. Let's give a good welcome to Donna. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be NAWPing with all of you. I'm sorry you didn't get your copy today. They are starting to arrive. But Unrivered is just a week old officially today. So I'm going to read to you from that. Yeah, I'm just going to begin so that we respect everyone's time. The first poem, the title is also the first line, so I won't repeat it. Everything is terrible, and yet the fields are full of seed and sprouts and leaves and rain. I wear this irksome suit of flesh, and yet the fields are scented, sweet with dirt and singing. I watch my days fall and die like embers, and yet the fields are tangled with grasses and asters. I smile a cruel curve, a drawn bow, and yet the fields are recycling the soft wreckage of harvest. I hate like a god hates when it is forgotten, and yet the fields are still in love with green. A lot of the poems in this book deal with aging and the body. And this, I've never read this one before. I saved it, first time at NAWP. Probably because I'm not sure will come off, we'll see. The title is Annual Exams Revised Standard Version. So the poem is interspersed with, I don't know how well you can see, there are italicized lines that are from the Revised Standard Version of the Bible. And you'll see how it works, hopefully. Here we go. Annual Exams Revised Standard Version. 1. Place your chin in the cup. Lean your forehead against the rest. The Lord opens the eyes of the blind. Look directly at the green light. The eye is the lamp of the body. Do not be alarmed as the machine spits into the cornea. When he had spit on his eyes and laid his hands upon him, he asked, "What is the smallest line of letters you can read? Is this one clearer or this one?" If your eye is sound, your whole body will be full of light. 2. Disrobe and put on a pink gown, tied in the front. 2 breasts are like 2 fawns, twins of a gazelle. Wait with other women, sometimes men. Even the jackals give the breast. When you are called, assist with stickers pressed over moles and skin tags. Surrender yourself to the technician's hands. I was a wall, and my breasts were like towers. She will knead and lift them before forcing the flesh between plates of the machine. You are stately as a palm tree, and your breasts are like its clusters. Feel the force and ache. Hold your breath. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you? Watch the shadows on the nurse's face each time she checks an image. You are not your own. 3. Lay your body on the white papered gurney. Lift your feet and your dignity into cold metal stirrups. My frame was not hidden from thee when I was being made. Glue your breath to a rhythm of calm, intricately wrought in the depths of the earth. Feel the slickened vice twist you wide, a hand on the belly, a pinch of tissue for a test tube. Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted will be rooted up. Quick afterbirth of tool and lube. The Lord called me from the womb and from the body of my mother. Pray it will not kill you like it did your mother. Is it okay if I read an F-bomb poem? I didn't know if your daughter was still listening.
She's still here. I'm gonna kick her out.
Okay. Sorry. I really wanted to
It's
read this
fine.
one to this group, but I didn't want to, little ears. Here we go. This is short. She can come back in a minute. Some days I want to go back to my 20s. A swirl of caramel on the tongue, sweet and sticky, and supple young crocus petals shoving through snow without apology. I know flowers repping youth is so cliche, same with chrysalis or new day, but swear to God that's how it was. A fire, a fledgling drunken buzz, a motion, leaping from the nest toward any shiny wreck. Fuck rest. A slow burn, long fuse dynamite. Some jeweled life unlived, a right I claimed as mine. I used the world, like oysters use their grit to pearl. Okay, she can come back in now. Yes, it is a very NAWP thing. When you have kids, that's how it goes. The book is kind of threaded around a heroic crown of sonnets because I'm insane, evidently. And I can't read you, obviously, the entire crown because that would take a whole 15 minutes, but I am just going to share two of them that are kind of linked. So this is actually 11 and 12. So 11. I am blessed by breath as I flex twigs, break kindling to build a fire. I recall my grandmother's words. In our time, we shake off a pound of skin and eat a small bushel of dirt. All those cells, all that earth, what we lose and what we consume, all part of the cosmos, atoms formed before our birth pulsing inside of us. I stab and pull apart the loose stitches in her quilt, passed down to remind me, fiber, calico, and wool, her sweat pressed into each thread. Head bowed, I squint to thread the needle's eye, a fool for not honoring the past or creation. And I try to mend again, each misstep, salvation. 12. I am trying to mend each misstep. Salvation requires apology, regret, taking steps toward what I fear. This sublimation, sublime. This rebirth requiring forceps of iron will. I am sorry, I whisper to God, to a quivering dog beneath a bridge. I offer my wrists as tender to snakes and wolves who bare their teeth in my dreams. Through the thick trees, the trails all look the same, hard-packed, brown, ominous, patrolled by owls. I reach to read the braille of bark, march each fringe of fungus to find my way home. The forest burns as I flee. A cardinal sets fires from tree to tree. I'm just going to read two more shorter ones. That's okay. Do I have enough time for two? We're good?
Definitely.
All right. This one is called Orchard After Storm, and it contains two lines from Edna St. Vincent Millay. Orchard After Storm. Bark streaked black by last night's fury, the trees hang heavy with yield, leaves dripping in syncopated rhythm. I reach for a pear, its yellow, slick and sinister, bittersweet, but I pull back and leave it on the branch, remembering the poet said, "He who would eat of love must eat it where it hangs." I walk the broken wall alone, smell the smoke of brushwood, still too damp to catch, fallen unripe harvest like stones beneath my feet, first casualties of the sky's unrest, and I see how clearly my life must run. The griefs that will repeat, the bloom and fall, the ruined remains, and now the kiss of rain again, its mist full of ghosts. You are not here, not by my side, nor in the smoke, nor in the gloom. I reach again to pluck a pear, far and wide, ladders lean among the fruit. And I'm just going to end with one more short one. Mitch has a lot of nature and trees in his poems, so this one's for you. Thank you all for being here. It's been a great night of poems. This is called Lake Dusk. The lake laps against the rocks, a lullaby, a soothing type of white noise. A broad-winged bird circles slow, one I can't identify and could never tame. I am trying to release my need to name the world, to slow the mathematical progression of the hours. Age presents as enemy, turning the body against itself. But I have learned to let each wound settle and close in its own time. Learned to see not stagnation, but alteration. Learned it is enough, this walking, this waking, enough to watch the bird soar weightless over bright water, even if it looks like rain, even if the banks flood, a new shore. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Beautiful poems. It's wonderful to hear all three of you read as a really great complimentary set of poems tonight. Thank you so much. We're actually going to continue this wonderful series of poets this fall. Please stay tuned. We're going to be promoting November's reading, which is going to have Taylor Bias, Victoria Buitron, and Daniela Tusi Watson. So really great stuff. They just came out. All three of them have new books out as well. So we'll be having them sometime in November, and then December we'll do our third annual Hanukkah reading. I'm trying to get a bunch of great poets together for that, and then we'll keep going right up until AWP, where we won't be, we'll be NAWPing. So thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for more, and we'll have this online soon.
Have a good day.
You
Thanks
too.
for having us.
Thanks
Peter.
for coordinating. We'll
No, I
stay.
did not.
Yeah, thanks all the readers.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. It was really lovely.
Have a good night, everybody.
Peace
Take
out.
care.